Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Mental Health Talk with yours truly. I am Christina McIntyre. I hope that y'all had the best week that y'all could. If not, let's not worry about yesterday. We can only focus on the now and prepare for the future. A lot of times we worry about things that we can't control. So let's only worry about things that we can control, and if we can't control them, let's not worry about it. Don't forget to visit my website, www.becomeyourc.com, where I talk about our mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual aspects of ourselves to help unveil our true identity. Follow me on Instagram, Become Your C, Facebook, BYC, Become Your C, YouTube, BYC, Become Your C, and I'm also on TikTok at Become Your C. If you're interested in learning a holistic approach to mental health, you can always message me. I deal with the chakras. I have jewelry for sale as well to help you on your spiritual journey. You can inbox me. Also have my book out. It's called Become Your C, 21 Poems to Ignite Your Spiritual Journey. So if you're interested in any one of them, please let me know, and I will get that to you as soon as possible. This month is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. It's important to get help if you need it. I know as a survivor, a lot of times we don't feel safe, we don't feel comfortable reaching out. There is a number, it's 1-800-799-7233, where you can visit thehotline.org to message them. And this will get me into my topic for this week, mental health and domestic violence. It's important to know that if you're in a domestic violence situation, that it is not okay, right? Nothing is ever okay. Like people putting their hands on you, belittling you, making you feel less than, not worthy. That's not okay. And you have to, I urge you to get out as soon as you can. It's not easy. It's going to take multiple times. It took me probably 8 to 10 times to finally get out over a 5-year period with my last abusive relationship. There is life after being in an abusive relationship. Yes, it's going to take time to heal, to become what you need for yourself, but you owe it to yourself to give you the best life that you can have. And I know that it can be scary to start over, but it is vital for your longevity, right? A lot of people die behind the hands of domestic violence. And so we want to prevent that as much as possible. So the brief definition of domestic violence is a violent or aggressive behavior within the home, typically involving the violent abuse of a spouse or partner. And then I also found out that same-sex couples have a higher rate of domestic violence. I'm gonna give you a lot of statistics at first, and then I'm gonna talk a little bit about my experience with domestic violence and give you some inspiring advice to help you get out of it. I wanted to say something. So yesterday I had the opportunity to speak at the Domestic Abuse Project. They had an event at the Crozier Library on, I think it's Engle Street. And then I found out they do have a location at the police department. I believe it's on the east side, for the domestic abuse project. So if you feel like you're not safe, if you feel like you don't know how to get out of the abusive relationship, they have a location here in Chester. Please, by all means, do so. Yes, it seems scary at first. You do want to support. So whoever you can reach out to that will listen to you, try to do that. I know in the beginning sometimes, especially if you're religious or whatever, they tell you to, try to work it out no matter how hard it is. There are certain things that we shouldn't tolerate. Abuse is not one of them, right? We should not tolerate abuse at no level because it takes years of therapy, years of healing to get over that. Once someone like really mentally abuse you, it's hard to get back to some normalcy. You can, but it takes a lot of hard work. So if you need help, definitely go. Don't feel like you have to suffer through this alone. So 20 people per minute are abused by an intimate partner. That's more than 10 million people per year, women and men. 1 in 4 women and 1 in 9 men experience severe physical violence, sexual violence, and stalking. 1 in 3 women, 1 in 4 men um, receive physical slapping, shoving, and pushing. 1 in 7 women, and 1 in 25 men become injured. 1 in 4 women, 1 in 7 men have severe abuse, beating, burning, and strangling. 1 in 7 women, 1 in 18 men have been stalked. 20,000 phone calls are made daily to the hotline. So this is a very severe, at the event I was at yesterday, a severe epidemic, right? Abuse, a lot of time is silence. These statistics don't factor in the numbers that don't get reported. A lot of people don't report it. I myself never went to authorities to report my abuse, so that is a number that did not get accounted for. It's so many women and men like myself that no one knows the abuse exists, right? And so it wasn't, for me, it wasn't until last year that I started to speak up about my abuse and not be ashamed of being in that relation or that situation. That's how you gain your power back, right? When you're able to speak about it, you gain power back. And so I urge you, if you have been, don't be ashamed to share your story. You can inspire someone else, and you don't have to be ashamed of what you were in, right? You're out now, you're safe, and now it's your time to take your strength back, get your power back, right? President of the gun increases homicide by 500%. So if you're in an abusive situation already, and there is a gun in the home, homicide is going to increase. Intimate partners account for 15% of the crime. Women between 18 to 24 are abused by their partners. 19% of those cases involved a weapon. Domestic violence is related to depression and suicide. Only 34% of people that get injured receive care. And this is going to be related to rape. 1 in 5 women, 1 in 71 men have been raped in a domestic violence situation. 46.7% women, 44.9% men have been raped by an acquaintance. 45.4 women, 29% of men have been raped by an intimate partner. Stalking, right? So 19.3 million women, 5.1 million men have been stalked in their lifetime. 60.8% of women, 43.5% of men have been stalked by a current or former partner. 1 in 15 children are exposed to domestic violence each year. 90% of are eyewitnesses. This is a lot of information, I realize that, but it's important that you know these numbers. These numbers are alarming and they're frightening, that a lot of this is happening right under our noses. That 1 out of every 4 women, we know a lot of people. So most of the time, the people that you are speaking with are being abused and you have no idea. And so a little bit of my story, I didn't share my story until last year, right? My family didn't know how extensive the abuse was until I started speaking about it. I did feel ashamed. I didn't understand why I allowed myself to be in a situation like that, why I stayed longer than I needed to. But at first, it's not abusive. At first, it becomes abusive once they kind of got you, right? You fall in love, you thinking this is your person. They use manipulative tactics to keep you, right? And so you find yourself, it's hard to get out. They do things, they say things to diminish your self-worth, to lower your self-esteem. And so you feel like you can't find no one better than them. So you stay, you tolerate the cheating, the lying, the hitting, you can have financial abuse as well, finances, and you feel like you can't get out. And a lot of people don't get out, right? A lot of people are underground right now because of domestic violence, and we, we want to prevent that as much as possible. So the economic impact of domestic violence: 21 to 60% of victims lose their job to the abuse. Between 2003 and 2008, 142 women were murdered in the workplace and 78% were killed. Physical and mental impact. Women are more vulnerable to contact diseases. Violence have been linked to difficulty in pregnancy, stillbirth, miscarriage, abortion, hemorrhaging, chronic pain, disability, hypertension, cancer, cardiovascular diseases, higher rate of developing addictions such as alcohol, drugs, and tobacco. Women, and this is related to mental abuse, like mental health illness. Women with depressive disorders are 2.5 more times likely to be victims of domestic violence. 45.8%. Women with anxiety is 3.5 times more likely, 27.6%. Women with PTSD, 7 times more likely, 61%. Women with OCD and schizophrenic, bipolar, and other mental health disorders are more likely to be in an abusive relationship. Men with mental health disorders are more prone to be victims of domestic violence. Those are a lot of statistics, I know, but it's important to know these. So, dealing with mental health is already chaotic. It's already a struggle as it is. And so, having those issues beforehand, and then you find someone, you trust this person, you fall in love with them, you think they love you too, you already struggling on your own with mental health issues, and then you get with someone and they know this, and then they use that as a way to get in, right? A way to find your so-called weakness and harbor on that and use that against you. In my experience, before I got in relationships, I've already been depressed, right? I had OCD for a long time, and I had anxiety for a while. And so I always share with people, you have conversations with the people you're about to date, be in a relationship with. And they use that as a way to keep me captured because I had low self-esteem. I didn't have any confidence. And so I thought by being in a relationship, that would help me, right? And so you get into these types of relationships, and most of the time we are givers. People that become victims of domestic violence are givers. And so we feel like if we give of ourselves. We give so much to this person. We do whatever they need. That they will love us enough. But it never will be enough. It never was enough. I tried to change who I was. So I had to lose myself in order to become what this person needed, but that still wasn't enough. So then the abuse came. I asked for what I needed. So the name calling came. The emotional manipulation came. And so for me, I found myself so deep into it, I thought that I couldn't do no better. So I broke up and got back together. And it just got worse each time. Luckily for me, I had a final straw. It's been 2 years this December that I walked away from that abusive relationship. And the last straw was my ex putting his hands on me in front of my son. And I could not take it no more. And I knew it was coming to an end because I just had a feeling, and that was it. Now, it's been 2 years, and I'm not 100%, but I'm way better off. And I want to encourage people to let them know that there is life after being in an abusive relationship, right? When I left that, I didn't know where I was going. Sometimes you get back together, but I just said I can't keep going through the same thing year after year. And it was a struggle, right? I questioned myself. I'm like, should I reach out? And I never did. And after that, that's when doors started open. I started my own business. I wrote my own book. I learned how to build a website. I came in contact with people. Like yesterday was a blessing to be able to speak at an event like that. Like doors opened up for me because I let go of something that was controlling me. And it takes time, right? You're going to need therapy. You're going to need a support system. It's hard to deal with it by yourself. For the most part, I had to deal with it by myself because I still felt ashamed. So I've dealt with a lot of internal struggles being in a situation like that. And I still get triggers sometimes because that wasn't the only relationship. I really don't want to speak about the other one because of people's privacy and the relationship with my son. But even that one is still a trigger. And I found myself like I have to survive, not for myself, but for my son. In one incident, this guy did have his hands around my neck and choked me to the point where I couldn't breathe. And I thought that I was going to die that night. And thank God that I didn't. But of course, I went back even after the fact. And it took one more year later after that incident that I finally left. And it's scary. Like, you feel alone. You feel like you will never find nobody again. Like, who could love me? But after, it's your life can change. It's depending on how long you're in that situation. It's going to be how long you need therapy, and it is okay. It's okay to take your time. It's okay to walk away. I had to start from scratch from the first relationship that I was in that was abusive. I had to start from scratch. I had to move back to Pennsylvania. Luckily, and I'm thankful, my brothers provided a place for me and my son to live. I had no job, no money. I didn't know what I was going to do. But that was enough. And luckily, a job had called me back. I started working. I got my own car. A year later, I was able to get my own place. So it can be done. You just have to know that you are worth that and more. You got to know that it's not okay. No one loves you if they put their hands on you or demean you or make you feel less than, or even like a lot of people use cheating as a way to control, right? Oh, if you did this for me, then I wouldn't do that. That's abuse as well. If you find yourself in any of the situations, please reach out to someone. But then you also have to be careful. Like, some people don't even believe you, right? Some people don't even think it's that bad. Oh, it's not that bad. And so you choose to stay because you have people in your ear saying, oh, like a lot of people like, oh, work it out. You have children together. Work it out. It's against the religion to divorce. No, no one should be okay with someone putting their hands on you. So you gotta know that you are worth it enough, that you deserve more than that. You don't have to settle for that. I know sometimes abuse comes from childhood. Like for me, my father was abusive to my mother, and it became a repeated cycle, right? We saw our dad hit our mom, throw her down the steps. We saw our mom go through miscarriages because of our father. Unfortunately, he passed away when I was really young, so he never got to right his wrongs. But the impact of that image, we don't think it impacts us as adults, but it does, right? I said that I would never be in a situation like that, and I found myself in two. And then later on I found out that my grandfather abused my grandmother. So someone has to stop that generational curse, we so call it. So it's not your fault that you fell in love with someone that was abusive, right? And this was hard for me to accept. I had to accept my responsibility that I played in that relationship, and we have to. And this seems hard. This is once you get some therapy and past that, because no, we weren't wrong for falling in love with someone that we thought that was going to love us, that was our person, that, our ride or die, whatever like that. But at some point, we got to stop that. The pain stops when we stop, right? And this would also clicked in my head, right? I was in a relationship with these people, and I'm thinking like, oh, if I could do this, they would be better. If they could just change and become this, oh, it would be better. I had to stop and say, that's not the reality, right? The person that I wanted them to be was not who they were. This is who they were. And if I choose to stay with this person like this is who I'm accepting. I'm accepting this abuse. I'm accepting this. And it kind of changed my mindset. It kind of pushed me towards the end result, which made me leave the last time that my ex put his hands on me. And I'm not saying it's not a rush, but it is. Like, your time is valuable, and the longer you stay in a relationship like that, the more hurt and damage you're doing to yourself. It does something to you mentally and emotionally. I'm not saying you'll ever be. It's going to take a time for you to even feel whole again, right? Like I said, it's been almost 2 years since the last incident, and I'm almost there, but not quite. I still have triggers, and I still go through flashbacks sometimes. I still go through pains, but I can tell you that I finally know how to love myself and know that I don't have to settle for less than what I deserve. I know that that's not the type of person that I would ever want to be around my son, because I'm raising a little boy into being a man, and I want him to know how to treat a woman, right? I can't have examples of people demeaning someone in front of him. And you think about that too. If you have children, children are they do what they see. And I didn't realize, right? My son he's been diagnosed with ADHD, and he has aggressive behavior sometimes. And I was wondering why. I didn't think that he saw the abuse. I didn't think he heard it, but he did. We were having a conversation the other day, me and my son, and he was bringing this up. And I didn't even realize that that's why he's reacting the way that he does. So definitely, I know it's hard to do it for yourself, but for your children, you deserve it. Your children, there are safe houses. Call the number. Yes, you may lose everything, but once you lose all of that, you'll gain more. But you got to know that you deserve that. You got to know that it's not safe. It's never going to change. Like I thought it was going to change. People will make promises. I was made all these promises to, like, it's going to get better, it's going to change. It never changed. The longer I stayed, the more I hurt, the more pain it caused, the more abuse I endured. They're not going to change. So you have to change, and you have to get out before it's too late. And that's what I want for everyone that's in an abusive relationship. Get out before it's too late. Because I've seen so many videos. There's so many people that are not breathing right now because they decided that that person was worth more than their own life. So value your life. I'm going to throw a couple more out there. So the effects on children, right? Ongoing anxiety and depression, emotional distress, eating and sleeping disturbance, low self-esteem, self-harm, being aggressive, feeling suicidal, difficulty concentrating, and insomnia. So children see this, they hear it, they're affected by it. We have to do something. I myself was a child product, or like I endured abuse, well, not physical abuse, but I seen abuse growing up. Me and my siblings seen it. I'm just lucky that my 3 brothers turned out to be great men. They did not turn out to be like my father. And I'm grateful for that, because a lot of times when you see abuse growing up, you either become a victim or you become an abuser. And so we must pay attention to what we're putting in front of our children. Not that we have to be perfect parents. We got to watch who we choose, and it's hard. And then this is why you have to deal with childhood trauma when it happens. A lot of parents put their children through things and don't think they need therapy. Your child needs therapy if they see something, right? If they hear something, put them in therapy, do something, make it right. Because when we deal with stuff as an adult, it's so much harder to go back. We have to go back and dig up old memories that we don't want to deal with. But if we don't deal with them, we're going to become our past. And this is what I'm trying to prevent. There is life after being in a domestic violence relationship. You want to support, right? You want as much support as possible. Reach out to someone, and it's hard. You might have to do it online. When the first incident occurred, I'm glad I have brothers that love and support me, because they kicked this dude's door down. But of course, I went back. And then I never told them the abuse afterwards, because I didn't want to feel like a dummy, right? But always try to reach out. Even if you got to hear some harsh words, it's better to hear those words than to be on the ground. Find a safe house. They have a lot of places around. Celebrate your achievements. You don't think, like, when you leaving, that's a big achievement, right? You starting over. You get a job. You get your own place. That's an achievement. Take care of yourself. Be gentle with yourself. Reach out when you need it, right? Talk about it. The more you speak about it, the no longer it hurts you or bother you. So many people are silent. And men think, like, people think that men don't get abused. They do. They just don't report it, because, if you, another man tells someone, oh, well, this woman hit me, they're going to look at them like, right? Because we were taught, like, men don't hit women back. And so they don't. So it's a lot of women that sit here and hit on men, mentally and emotionally abuse men too. So you need to reach out as well and find a safe place, find a place that you can go talk to. It's not okay on either part for men or women to get abused, because the aftermath of it is what's very difficult. And these are some mental health illnesses that can occur after the abuse: PTSD, depression, suicide, and anxiety. So if you're already suffering from mental health illness before you get into a relationship like this, you take it with you, and then you're dealing with more after it. I didn't have PTSD until after I was in these two abusive relationships. Yes, I had anxiety and panic and OCD beforehand, and I was depressed. And that may be the cause of why I chose these people, but it's still not okay. And so now, like, I can't be around loud noises. I don't like loud bangs. It's so many different things that I have to watch. And it's a continued healing process. But the more I heal, the more I speak about it, the more I empower myself. And that's what I want you to do. I want you to speak about it and saying that it's not okay. It's not okay for people to put you through this. I spoke to a woman yesterday. She was 60 something years old, and she was sexually assaulted when she was 13. And I think it still affects her. So 50 years later. So we have to choose when we stop allowing the abuse to continue. We have to make an effort. We got to do the work, no matter how scared we are, no matter how we feel like we're going to lose everything. Don't let your life be short-lived because of someone else, because they say they so-called love you. Love don't hurt. Like, yeah, love can be a little bit difficult, but love don't hurt. Love don't cheat. Love don't lie. Love don't make you feel less than a human being. Love doesn't call you out your name. Love doesn't um, not support you. Love doesn't not hug you. Love doesn't uplift. Like, love should empower you. Love should encourage you. Love should be affectionate towards you. Love should know who you are in your moment and not put you down because of it. I had exes that put me down because I was suffering from anxiety and panic, saying that my mental illness wasn't that bad. Like, people have it worse. So that's not support. That's not love. And they say that you can't love someone until you fully love yourself, and I'm starting to believe that. Like, you have, when you fall in love with yourself and you love yourself for every part of it, you won't settle for someone like that. But because we don't love ourselves enough, but because we trust, because we're so giving, we allow these people to manipulate us and to emotionally abuse us. Because the physical scars, they'll heal. Mine took about a whole year or so to finally go away. I had scratch marks that was deep embedded in my neck that went away about a year. But that mental and that emotional, that stays for a while. Like, it's certain places that I can't go. Luckily, I haven't ran into mine, but I don't know what I would do if I ran into them, and how I would feel after. So if you're a person that you have abusive tendencies, go get some help, because you're going to damage the person that falls in love with you. And it's not fair. It's not right, because you can't deal with your own demons. Deal with your demons. Deal with your issues, because you're going to affect someone else's life. And if you decide to have children, or if they already have children, that's going to get affected. And then more likely they'll turn abusive or be victims of abuse. And this is what we want to stop. We need to unsilence our voices. We need to speak out about it. We need to reach out. We need to let people know this is not okay. We need to provide safe places for people to speak and not feel ashamed. Families need to stop. The church needs to stop. Like, these places need to stop telling people to stay with these people that are hurting them because of saving face, because of forgiving. No, it's not okay for people to abuse other people. And I know growing up in the church, we were taught, like, if you're married, oh, you got to stay. No, it's not okay whether you're married or not to stay with someone that's abusive. And it's not okay to let someone think you are less than. So I want to thank each and every one of y'all for tuning in. This is definitely a touchy topic, especially for me. But I wanted to encourage people that are in an abusive relationship. If you need to reach out and speak to me, I'm more than open. Just inbox me, Christina McIntyre, and we can have a conversation. I can help you on the journey of healing. It's going to take some time, but you deserve the best. You don't deserve to be treated less than. You deserve to be loved how you want to be loved, and it is out there. And you have to first learn to love yourself. Again, this is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. If you need to reach them, they have a number, 1-800-799-7233, or you can reach them at hotline.org. Remember, fall in love with yourself so the world can fall in love with you. Till next time, thank you.